Loud. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Today, our guest is Mike Finnegan, radial tire recycler, professional adventure haver, host of Finnegan's Garage on YouTube, host of Roadkill, host of Faster with Finnegan, Instagram megastar Finnegan999, but I think still most famously known as the host of the Kibbe and Finnegan podcast. Sure. Today, we will catch up where we last left off. Many zany projects, a 200 mile an hour 60s era Cadillac, probably 8 more ramp trucks, new dream cars, old dream cars, boats that go to the moon. And Mike is going to tell us the secret to YouTube stardom in 2021. It's ruining expensive things. Mike, welcome to the show.
Not a day goes by that I don't think about the day I left the podcast and go, God, I really screwed up my life.
Yeah. What did I do? I wonder if I can get that back.
I actually do miss it. I really do. It was a lot of fun to do. And I wish I had more time, I gotta be honest.
Well, you never know, man. Someday somebody might just call you out of the blue and say, I got a crap ton of money. And I would like you to entertain me, please.
If Corn Dog ever goes, yo, I'm tired of making all this money, Mike, you make the money, come back. I'd say yes. I'd be like, yeah, okay. I will.
That may come back. That may come. Who knows? You never know. So let's we're gonna run this on Muscle Car Plays probably and Kibbe and Friends. But it's been a while since we last. I had to go check. Last May is the last time we actually recorded something together. So your life has been quite full since last May, but you had just entered the pandemic. So how did you do the pandemic from May to now amongst 2 TV shows and a full YouTube channel?
It was a strange time. I remember when the pandemic began, I was getting on a plane in Vegas. And I remember getting off the plane in Atlanta at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, which is, I'm told, the single busiest airport in the world. And when I landed, it was empty. There was nobody in it. I thought, this is weird, man. And as I drove home, I was listening to the news and, kind of heard what was going on. And yeah, over the next several months, the world just kind of stopped. Most of the TV stuff I do is based out of Los Angeles. And so we just stopped working for a good, I'd say 6 weeks, right around May. At some point they were like, we're really behind schedule now. Why don't you guys film some stuff from home? Which was pretty easy to do for me because I still film Finnegan's Garage out of my garage on home on YouTube. And Newbert and I are together every day. So we didn't, we could still keep working together. We weren't really going anywhere. So we knew, we didn't have COVID. We had been tested a bunch. And in fact, I think I've been tested 13 times now since
Oh,
May.
really?
Yeah, every time we start a new episode of Roadkill, we get tested before it. And if there's any potential contacts with somebody that might have had it, we get tested again during it and then sometimes after. And so we filmed some episodes from home. And then about July or August last year, the production company was like, we need to hurry up and finish the season. And so I had bought that 67 Firebird out of the barn, and we got the bright idea to road trip it to Texas, and then Freiberger and Dulcich road trip to Texas from California. And we rented RVs and just camped out the whole time and stayed in RVs instead of going to hotels and just stayed away from people. And we were able to knock out like 3 episodes of Roadkill during that 2 weeks road trip. And then we came back home and somehow knocked out 6 episodes of Fast with Finnegan. And that was it. I didn't do much last year. Like we didn't, no drag week. We didn't really go anywhere or do anything. I attempted to go race Rocky Mountain Race Week because remarkably that still happened.
Yeah.
And blew up Blasphemy again. And that's about it. That's the highlight of my year, I think, was really blowing up Blasphemy once again. Other than that, I really didn't go out much.
No good movies.
No movies. And the crazy part is I was busier, locked down at my house than I was, on a normal year, even without going to trade shows and things. to the point where, and it was interesting how many people didn't understand. I don't know if it was the purpose of the lockdown or they just didn't understand things. Because there's one guy out there who's like pissed off at me. And I used to be friends with this guy, but he's mad at me because I didn't want to go to the post office to mail him 2 20-year-old boat parts I had for free. Like these were old pieces off one of my old drag boats, and he knew I had them and he wanted them. And he's to this day mad at me that I didn't go to the post office right away or even in any kind of timely fashion and mail him these free parts. And I'm like, look, I know it's my word. I said I would, but I'm not going to the post office, dude. I'm going to stay home as much as I possibly can. You know, I got parents that are older, and you know, I don't know. It wasn't
that is odd. That is odd. We have, I don't know where we live. We only really had to shut down real life for like a month, realistically. Everything else we could kind of accomplish. And then, you know, there's 3 million people in this whole state. It's wide open spaces here. So yeah. If you're in a city, you can, you know, you got to do what you got to do. But we're really not. So last year we probably, so we learned that we like Wheel of Fortune. Like, that's a good show. I see why people are so interested in it. And we had more family time than I can ever remember, but it was super busy. Let's do a project catch up.
Fun fact for you: Wheel of Fortune was featured on an episode of the A-Team.
What?
Yeah, Murdoch was on an episode of A-Team. He had figured out a way to beat it. It was pretty good.
Did he beat it in the episode?
Yeah. Yeah, he had figured out all the frequency tables for vowels and consonants, and he was just sitting there like king of the world, you know, kicking ass on Jeopardy.
Was Pat Sajak in it?
Oh yeah. It must have been all on the same network or something. This must have been a crossover thing, but part of the A-Team's usual, you know, episode was the fact that he was on Wheel of Fortune and they were outrunning the law as a result of his appearance on Wheel of Fortune. I'm guessing this is at a point where they were running out of ideas of, you know, reasons to be outrunning the law and putting him on a syndicated television show is, you know, the new idea.
This I'm going to have to look up. There's so many crossovers between Dukes of Hazzard and really everything else. But there's these guys out there called the Knight Rider historians, kind of trying to step on my turf a little bit. So we have a friendly rivalry going.
You have a nerd podcast rivalry? I love this.
Yeah. It's they have a YouTube channel, and that seems to be the rage already, is the YouTubes. Anyway, they have truly like they're way more deep nerd than I am. So they have all this actual original footage from Knight Rider of behind the scenes clips that like Universal would produce of people, you know, stepping on things and swearing and things like that. Jack Gill, who was on the Dukes of Hazzard, was the stunt coordinator for Knight Rider. And then there's an episode of some TV show starring Joe Pesci where he's driving Kid around for a while, solving crimes.
What?
It is the goofiest thing.
That?
I'll have to get that your way.
Yeah, dude. Did he have like the Goodfellas accent? I mean,
no, he was totally normal looking. So this is like mid 80s. He's slimmer. No swearing, nothing. Just
he's looked old his whole life though, or at least his whole television life.
Yeah,
because even in Home Alone, when did that come out? Like 91. The dude looked old.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's fantastic in both Home Alones, by the way.
He is. Are you more of a fan of the second or the first?
I celebrate the whole catalog. I do. I gotta be honest. I watched the third one with my kids for the first time this year, and I was like, I don't know about this, you know, because Kevin McAllister's not in it. Neither is Joe Pesci or, you know, Daniel Stern. But dude, the people they got to play in the third one are hysterical. The bad guys, they did a really good job of getting their asses kicked. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
So I've never seen it. I'll have to look into it.
It's really good. Yeah.
The second one burned me out. There is a movement that is starting to say that the second is better than the first. That's hard for me to swallow.
No, that's not true. The second was it was darker. Like you had the bird lady, you know, and it was just a darker thing. I don't think you ever recapture the nostalgia and the glory and the beauty of wallpaper, wall to wall Home Alone. You just don't, but it's Christmas. You celebrate the whole thing, the whole catalog.
Yeah. Did you happen to catch Netflix, the movies that made us the Christmas ones that talked about Home Alone?
No.
Go check that out. Like all that wallpaper, that's on purpose. It's purposely placed there in specific colors to keep you always in Christmas themed colors and to keep you feeling cozy. It's crazy.
I get it because these days, I don't know if it's Lifetime or whatever, how many networks there are for women these days that are purely from, I'd say, September on, Christmas romance movies.
Yeah.
And every one of them, you can tell it's not shot at Christmas, nor is there real snow, but it's wallpaper to wallpaper, red and green. Mm-hmm. Every room in every set, the bathroom, the hallways, like everything. And it works. When I walk by and my wife's watching it, I go, what? But I don't sit down and I don't watch.
I do. I like those. I like those quite a bit. In fact, I bought a subscription for 2 months just to have it on.
Your mouth.
It's nice. It's
Oh, I love this. Not surprised. I'm not judging.
Tell me about. Let's start with a car I know. Tell me about death metal. Is death metal still alive?
It's still alive. In fact, I'm going to go drive it next week. I think you and I had maybe talked before we did this, and I was talking about I was actually thinking of selling it at one point. I was like, I don't get a chance to drive it, and it's fairly impractical. It's a really low to the ground car. Like the bell housing drags on. If the road is crowned, the bell housing drags on the ground. But I thought, I've got some creative ways to get around that. And I have an idea for an engine I'd like to put in there.
It's not an EcoBoost, is it?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
There's no economy in my life at all.
Good.
Nor will there be. and so, no, we're going to go out next week, Newbern and I, and film an episode of Finnegan's Garage where we just go off-roading in it and go have some fun on some dirt roads and pretend we're the Duke Boys a little bit.
Good for you.
Get the creative juices flowing once again. I think that's important. Don't ever get your car torn down to the part where you spend an exorbitant amount of time staring at it instead of driving it, because that's a surefire way to lose enthusiasm for a project.
So to catch people up, I mean, this was a real period 68 Charger built to race by a guy named Joe Barry.
Yep.
I don't recall if he did race it. I know that I know that he didn't want to see it back again when you brought it to him, and that was a bit uncomfortable for us.
That was part of the problem with the car. Was like you said, Joe Barry, farmer from Indiana, wanted to race NASCAR and ARCA, and he bought this total Charger in '68 and spent the next 2 years in a barn building a water pipe roll cage and doing crazy suspension mods and all this stuff so that he could race. And he spent his last $5 buying a car trailer to make the last race of the 1970 racing season. And at that point, he said the body would have been retired and it wouldn't have been legal for the following year, I think is what he said. And when he went to load it on the trailer, the car was so wide. And if you guys have ever seen the car, it's ridiculously wide. It wouldn't fit on the trailer. He never turned a lap. He shoved it in the barn, and it sat just in that barn and another barn for the next 50 years till a dude drug it out, took the drivetrain out, threw it on eBay. You graciously went and got it for me.
Me and Rodney. That was fun.
You and Rodney. I looked at the video yesterday. In fact, oh God, it's so funny. On Friday, I'm going to drop an episode of Finnegan's Garage where I have the footage. I lost it and I found it, but I have the footage of me attempting to get in the window while you're filming of that car, and it's not very smooth. But I have that footage. And so I bought the car. You and Rodney delivered it. I took it home. Tony Angel and I got it running with a rebuilt 383 and a 6-speed Tremec gearbox that we used a Silver Sport transmissions kit to install.
Good people.
Which worked really, really well. And then we road tripped it from Georgia all the way back to Indiana on the street, and it drove horribly. And when we got back to Joe Barry, I wanted to show him the car that never turned a lap, that never really saw the street. I thought he'd be excited. He and I had talked over the phone. He knew I was coming, the whole deal. And when we got there, it was like I shot his dog. Like, he could not have been less enthusiastic about seeing that car. In fact, he was like, yeah, that car ruined my life. I nearly got divorced over that car. The barn caught on fire. It was attached to the house. My house nearly burned down. I was like, okay, well, good to see you. I'm sorry to bring this horrible symbol of American excess and bad decisions into your world again. I'll leave. And they turned the cameras off. And
what a downer to end on.
It was horrible. Everybody's looking at me like, Mike, why did you bring us all the way here? We can't end the episode like this. Nobody's going to want to see this. And the cameras are off, and I say goodbye, and we're walking away. And he's like, man, I'm really happy you guys got it out of the barn. And I'm like, what? I turn around, and I'm like, what do you mean you're happy? He's like, oh, dude, this thing's great. He's like, I love what you've done with it. I'm so glad it's not rotting in a barn because the barn was falling down. This is great. I'm like, hold on, turn the camera back on and film this, because we didn't know. We thought he was pissed. And as it turns out, he's just a really reserved, quiet guy, and
just took him a little while to warm up.
Yeah, and you turned the camera on him, and he clammed up a little bit. And even after they turned the camera back on, I couldn't quite get him to say what he said or capture, his enthusiasm for it.
Did he drive it or
no,
get it in there?
He didn't want to. He's older guy. I don't think he wanted to climb in, but he didn't drive it. In fact, he said it was a death trap when he built it. It's even worse now. And I'm like,
that's the name. Okay.
that's how I got the name Death Metal Charger. And also, I mean, the thing wouldn't drive straight. We drove from Georgia to Indiana, and this car would not drive straight. It was chewing up tires. But remarkably, the backwoods mods he made with suspension, this thing turns left like nobody's business. Hence the name Death Metal.
It still has torsion bars in it, right? And it still has leaf springs, but everything has changed.
C-body torsion bars, which are longer. And he cut the boxes out of the floor of a C-body and welded them to the back of the torsion bar box in the Charger. So it goes through the original one into another one, so it's longer. And then, I don't know why he did it, but he cut all of the inner fenders out of the front, which weakened the front end of the car. He cut slots in the trunk floor and made shackles about a foot long and flipped the leaves, and so the leaves come up into the trunk floor of the car. That's how low this car is. And then the rules said he had to have a full floating rear end, so he went to the junkyard and just bought a full floating rear end that came out of a Willys Timken Jeep, like a 49.
Yeah.
It's a Timken rear end out of a Willys, some sort of thing. And it's a drum brake, full floating rear end that, for whatever reason, he modified and mounted Ford F-250 rear drums on the Timken rear end in the back and on the front of this car. So it's 8 lug all the way around.
I remember that. I remember, putting the straps on it in the trailer and being shocked. I'd never seen a rear end like that before. I didn't even know what it was.
Me neither.
Not a clue. It was odd.
And it's junk. It looks really cool. You're like, oh, is that a quick change? No, it's not. And you can't get parts for it. You can't buy a limited slip. You can't even buy a spool for it. Like, we can't re-gear it. It's got 488s, right? Yeah. So first and second gear in that 6-speed are useless in that car. And the 6-speed and 6 gear on the freeway, the overdrive is like 0.63 or something. It's still screaming down the highway at 60 miles an hour.
For sure.
The 488s and the little tires. So all of those things, like, I combined to over the last 6 months, I had problems with the motor, and because Joe Barry really wasn't that excited that we kind of kept it original, I got home with the car and I'm like, I don't really feel obligated now to keep this thing the way Joe Barry built it, because clearly he doesn't really care. So now I'm gonna change the rear and just put a 9-inch or something in it and figure out a way to adapt the steel 8-lug wheels back onto the rear of it. I want to take the drums off the front and put discs and adapt the wheels onto it, so it still sort of looks the same. But I'm going to do a couple things to make the car as low as it was before, but I'm going to repower it because the 383 that's in it is, you know, it's not a great motor. It's not particularly powerful, and it's got a couple of issues. So we're going to take that out and put something in it that'll just make everybody probably angry, which is good for me. I like that.
Well, that's how it works.
It's all about entertaining me, not you guys.
You know, I have this dream. So I just love 68 and 69 Chargers so much. I still shop for them all the time.
Yeah.
Even 70s. And I don't know Ryan Kibbe from Kibbe Tech, but I would like to, because I feel morally he and I need to know each other because of our last name. And then we need to wrap a Charger around one of his trophy truck chassis.
As far as I'm concerned, there are only 2 Kibbes in America.
Wow.
You and him.
Sweet.
Know? So I see no reason why you shouldn't do that. And we've talked about this before. I feel like, you know, you and I grew up thinking the General Lee was indestructible and could be jumped. And pre-Fast and Furious, we talked about, you know, trophy General Lee.
Just that, yeah.
Yeah, like this should happen. Like, I would donate death metal to make that happen. Like I have an idea of what I want to do with it, but trophy General Lee, dude, I'm in. Totally.
Do you know Ryan? I don't know him.
I follow him on Instagram because he's a really good welder and fabricator. So I follow a lot of really good welders and fabricators on there just to make myself feel bad. And so I don't know him at all. But I've been ironically, I was looking at his drift brake handles recently because I want one for my C10 and I want one for death metal. And so I haven't ordered one, but I thought about ordering 2 of them.
So. I was just researching those last night myself, in fact.
Yeah.
Nice same reason.
Yeah.
So tell me about this Cadillac. So you had a Cadillac for roadkill, a really pretty, all original, solid. What was it, like a 62 Cadillac or something like that?
Yeah, 62 Caddy, 46,000 original miles, some dents and scratches, but not an ounce of rust. And when I say not an ounce of rust, I mean I don't even mean surface rust. There's nothing anywhere. Like we took the bumper off the back of the car, there was no rust.
Where'd you get it?
Out of an airport hangar in just outside of Sacramento, I think. Somewhere around there. Roadkill fans, family had it. They knew I was looking for one, and I told them, I'm like, I'm gonna mess this thing up good, and they're like, oh, we're just happy somebody's using it. And so true to my word, I about 3 months ago took the body off the frame, threw the frame away, cut the entire floor out of the car, and dumped it on a mandrel bent tube chassis. And we're going to put a twin turbo alcohol swilling big block Chevy in it and try to go 8s in the quarter. And then try to go 200 miles an hour in like a standing mile.
Really?
Yeah. The car looks like a rocket to me. Like well,
it's got, it did come from the Apollo era of styling, right?
Yeah. And for me, the 68 Charger has the greatest taillights of all time, but a close second is the 62 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. And those taillights look like rocket boosters, which means that car should just go 200. So I'm going to try to make one go 200 and find out what happens. But more than anything is I wanted a fast car that had a back seat. You know, like Blasphemy super fun, but there's not a lot of room in it. And my C10, there's no room in it. Like I don't really own anything that is fast that I could take my friends to drag weekend or take my
usable.
Yeah. So for me, 2021 is the year of bringing the friends and the family.
There you go. You're a kindler, gentler.
Yes.
Dumber.
More thoughtful. If I'm going to die, you guys should die with me.
Well, Thelma and Louise our way through life.
Yes. You guys got all your affairs taken care of? All right. Let's go.
So you have a lot of stuff going on at the same time. Does that mentally wear you out? Because I knew how long you wanted a first gen Firebird, just so bad, and you got one.
Yeah.
Is it Rubber Duck? What's the name of this?
The Rubber Duck. Yeah.
So that happened this year, and that's a neat car. I genuinely like that one.
That wasn't planned. That was just I happened to be standing around when one fell in my lap out of the barn.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't shopping for one. Like I had always wanted a first gen Firebird because of a guy named Ryan Sebastian who I went to high school with. He used to give me rides to school in his. I always wanted one, and I bought one. And we shot an episode of Roadkill with it. It was great, 2 episodes actually. And then I blew up Blasphemy and had to sell it to my brother to pay to rebuild the engine of Blasphemy. And so I'd gotten it out of my system. I wasn't shopping for a Firebird. I wasn't shopping for a car at all, actually. And I just happened to be standing around, and somebody said, you've seen all the old cars up in the woods, and there it was. And so I'm in a weird place with that car. Like I love it, but I probably shouldn't own another car. And so
it's a pro street Firebird.
Yeah, it's a barn find, hasn't moved in 15 years, pro street Firebird that is in really good shape. Having said that, I had to replace everything, like every hose, every bit of electronics, every wire, suspension, brakes, wheels, tires. Like it's been refurbished. The only thing I haven't done is fix the broken hood, fiberglass hood on it. But I even had it. Like I could tell it was a nice painted car at one point. So I took it to these dudes called the Buff Guys Detailing here in Georgia, and they wet sanded the whole car, compounded it, buffed it out, ceramic coated it, like the whole deal. And now I'm like, dude, this thing is a freaking show car. So yeah, I'm in this weird place where I'm like, I don't need it, but it's really fun. And because it has a Chevy in it, it's wrong. I need to put a Pontiac in it. So that's going through my brain right now, is taking the big block Chevy out and putting a Pontiac in it. And I ran the numbers. It turns out it's a 400 4-speed car. So I'm gonna put a stick shift in it and take the big block Chevy and the turbo 400 out of it, because it just seems wrong for it not to be a stick.
You could sell it to somebody for them to run on drag week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how competitive it would be, but
have you run? I mean, I know that you ran it down the track for filming. Have you run it competitively?
No. And when we ran it for filming, it had the big block in it that was in it when I got it out of the barn, and it was wounded. It had eaten a camshaft. I think it ran like an eight something in the 8th mile. It wasn't fast. But I'm guessing it's probably, with the motor that's in it now, it's probably a 9-second car. Like it, fun, super fun.
Yeah.
Hall's Christmas tree is good. Like I like it.
I did. I saw that. Yep. When I was a kid, that's how my dad brought our tree home. It was on top of my Chevelle.
Really?
He actually had those racks that would go over the top that would clip to the drip rails.
Yeah.
My whole childhood, that's how it was. This old rusty car with roof rack on it and a whip antenna on the side for his ham radio rig.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. So when that was the first thing I did when we started working on it, I took the racks off, and it was like transformed. Or it was still a rusty piece of junk, but it was all of a sudden like a sleek. That's the gym I knew was under there. That's way better.
See, and I like the racks. Like I'm like, at one point I was gonna build a roof rack for Blasphemy to carry all this stuff during drag week. We have a '66 Suburban that I would love to get one of the cool '60s style aftermarket racks for the roof. Like I'm into the racks, but I understand on a Chevelle why it certainly looks better without it.
It does. I think it was also quite rusty. It was structurally helpful at the time. The car was not good.
A surfboard rack's holding the whole car together.
So I saw you in Iowa last year. You're picking up like a 6-door diesel that I think my fellow Iowan let you down on, and it failed on you fairly soon.
Yeah, that guy wasn't very cool.
Is that truck still alive, or did you get rid of that one?
That truck's awesome. I don't have it anymore, but on the way home, 100 miles from the seller's house, we realized the car had a bad head gasket, and it had it the whole time. For you guys at home, if you go test drive a car, and during the test drive, the heater just stops working, that's not good. It didn't dawn on me during the test drive what that actually meant. But yeah, it means that you got a head gasket problem. And so 100 miles after I paid the guy full price, drove away, it pressurized the radiator to the point where it blew the cap off and just chocolate milk everywhere.
Oh no.
In the parking lot of like a giant fireworks store. And so we stayed there.
Oh, were you just over the border?
Yeah, I was in the London, Kentucky.
Missouri. You would have been in Missouri if they were going that way.
London, Missouri. And giant fireworks store. And I know all of them say they're the world's biggest. This one was so big, the employees rode segways through the place to get this stuff. Yeah, it was giant, dude. It had these giant sculptures made out of car parts of like Transformers.
Really?
Yeah, they were like probably 9 or 10 feet tall. And there was probably half dozen of those spread out throughout the store. This place is awesome. Like if you get the time, watch Finnegan's Garage. I don't know what episode number, but it's got the 6-door Ford truck on it. And inside you'll see this fireworks store because they let us go in there and film. It was cool. And yeah, that place is dope. So
you fixed it and got rid of it?
We fixed it. I went home. I missed Valentine's Day again. Which my wife was not surprised by, but probably not happy about. And I made the mistake of taking the whole family out in the 6-door truck to my friend Brandon's birthday party. And it took about 45 minutes to get there, maybe an hour. And by the time we got there, my wife was like, I'll never ride it again. This is the dumbest, smelliest, worst riding truck I've ever seen. I hate this truck. And she's never said, I hate any of my stuff. And I was like, all right, enough said, baby. I understand. So I made plans to get rid of it. And I ended up trading it for a 66 Chevy Suburban.
That's how you got the Suburban. Because you have this, that's a cool Suburban.
Yeah, I like it.
But you have this whole other, I don't even know what it is, some enormous red Optimus Prime with a bed on the back.
Yeah. So the Roadkill ramp truck, the original one, the first one that I ever owned, that one's been in a body shop for quite a long time. So long, in fact, that I needed a ramp truck to haul with. And I went on this series of buying ramp trucks until I found the perfect one, which is this giant red Kodiak. And it's a crew cab Chevy Kodiak that the cab has actually been stretched. So it's a crew cab plus like a mega cab behind it a little bit. Okay. And the cab is so big that the rear bench seat folds into a bed. And really? while that's in a bed, you can slide the front captain's chair all the way back and not reach the steering wheel. I mean, it's giant.
Nice.
And it's enclosed. It's like 40 feet long. It's got a cat diesel. It's got a cab over sleeper. Like it's awesome. So the same weekend I traded the 6-door for the Suburban, I bought that giant red ramp truck and stuck the Suburban inside of it, and we drove the whole thing home. Yeah.
So good.
I really like it. So I get home. So now I'm stuck with the Roadkill ramp truck in the body shop, which is still not painted. Square Force 1, which I bought a long time ago.
White one.
Yeah, the white one. While the Roadkill ramp truck was in the body shop, I bought Square Force 1 because I needed a ramp truck to haul stuff. And I thought that was the giantest ramp truck I've ever seen, and it was perfect, and I loved it until I found this red one. So what I've done now is I've seemingly traded Square Force 1 for the work I want to get done to the red one. None of which has happened yet, but I'm hoping it will. Because the red one is not as nice as Square Force. It needs everything done to it. But the bones are good. It's on a heavier duty chassis. It's more built for hauling a car. Whereas Square Force 1, somebody was just like, hell yeah, let's stretch the chassis and put a 28-foot box on the back. That's a great idea, you know? And while it works, it's probably not the safest thing, you know?
I'm sure. So will that be your one and only transport vehicle then at that point?
I feel like if I can get the work done to the red truck, which we're calling Lincoln Hawk, by the way, if we can get Lincoln Hawk done,
certainly,
I feel like I'm out of the ramp truck game at that point.
Yeah.
There is nothing bigger. I don't think there's anything more user-friendly than this particular one.
Other than like the Knight Rider setup, like for the full semi with trailer and, you know, living quarters and, you know, spy station.
Dude, so I was driving down I-75 in Georgia 2 days ago, and I'm like, like, is that Snowman in front of me? What? Why is the back door open? I can see the Bandit T8. Like, what is going on? And I roll up behind this big rig, and it's one of those ones where it's not a hard-sided box. It's got the vinyl covering over the whole 53-foot trailer. The entire vinyl covering is the side of Snowman's trailer and the back door with the Bandit TA inside of it.
Oh, wow.
So it looks like he's got Snowman's trailer going down the highway. It was so cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, the Knight Rider fold down door driving deal would be just sick. That'd be so cool.
So for Faster with Finnegan, you do that with David Newburn and Mike Cotton. Mm-hmm. And Newburn and you work together kind of all the time.
Every day.
And I know that he had COVID for a while. Is he recovered and well and healthy?
Yeah, he's good. He's actually going to be back to work here at the house on Monday. But he's been out of work since the 22nd of December.
Wow.
He started getting sick, and I was like, all right, don't come in today. And then we had the holidays. Mm-hmm. And then immediately after the holidays, he had gotten tested and found out he had COVID. So then he was quarantined. And so we were just waiting for him to get, a negative test so we could come back. And then during that time, it all kind of worked out good because I had to leave for nearly 2.5 weeks to film Roadkill anyway. So while he was gone, I was gone. Nobody was filming Finnegan's Garage. So we haven't put an episode on YouTube in about a month, which I apologize for. People that care, all three of you. I'm sorry. And we'll have a new episode of Finnegan's Garage on YouTube on Friday. And Faster with Finnegan comes back to the Motor Trend app on February 3rd.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So speaking of all that, I have two things. I want your advice on YouTube.
Okay.
Not for me, but for those listening who have dreams or who are curious. And then we're going to end on a game because I love you. And
thank you.
And I made one.
I like your games. I miss them.
Let's start with success in YouTube in 2021. So you have creators like you who create content about creating stuff. Mm-hmm. And then you have like a Cletus McFarland, which is kind of the next generation of that good stuff. Then you have like a Donut Media, which is very different, but I thoroughly enjoy. I pop up down the headlights. I got it. I love all of it. Then you have this whole new theme of younger people wrecking really expensive things. Tell me about this. What have I missed? Do I not understand the economics? Is YouTube just printing money for this? Because people seem to think that's the case. You can name names if you want, but I think it's all clear what we're talking about.
That is the case. Okay, so how to make money at YouTube? Have low overhead, i.e., don't make a YouTube channel about fixing up cars or customizing them. The parts are expensive. It's time consuming to do. And your alternative to that, which is way smarter, is filming yourself playing a video game like Roblox or Fortnite.
Oh my.
Much bigger audience. It costs you nearly nothing to do and pays really well. And so the way YouTube works is depending on what genre you're in, you get paid per click. And so let's say you make videos about finance. Depending on the time of year, your rate per click could be as much as like $40.
And that's clicking an ad that was presented to you in the video?
No.
Or just views. Seen?
There's an algorithm that combines the number of views you get, and the way to maximize your income is if somebody watches the video that was suggested to them on your channel and they watch it all the way through, that's huge. YouTube interprets that as you're making good content. It will keep recommending it to other people. If they watch your video all the way through and then they click on one of the suggested videos in your playlist and watch another one all the way through, it's like hitting a home run. YouTube then says, this guy makes stuff people really want to see. We'll put it in the trending list. We'll push it out to everybody. That is how Roadkill happens to have one single video, which is the Lamborghini versus Rat Rod, that has like 78 million views. And then all the other videos are like, 4 million to 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
When you hit the algorithm just right, amazing things happen. And again, like, the automotive space is not easy to get into. It's very crowded. Your overhead is huge because building cars costs money. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you think you can get sponsors. Even if someone gives you the parts to install, your labor to install and then film and then edit, it's not cheap. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that to anybody. Not when you can be the guy who sets up a camera, points it at his garbage can, and then puts up videos every week of the trash truck coming and hydraulically lifting the garbage can off the ground and gets 1 million views. Really easy way to do that and make money. So that's the smart way to do it. If you are dead set on fixing up cars and making YouTube videos, then the best advice I could give you is to upload often.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do it every week, great. Have a really great thumbnail that people looking on a screen the size of their smartphone can easily identify, and then a really great title that's not like clickbait but gets people excited about, you know, what you've done.
Sure.
For instance, I made one where when we bought Square Force 1, we nearly died driving it home, kind of, because it broke down on a bridge and we had to roll down backwards into oncoming traffic. So I wrote the title like, I bought the world's biggest ramp truck and it nearly killed me, or something like that. And that did well. So there's my YouTube advice. Go for it.
The one that, excellent advice. Thank you. The one that has been passed around to everybody I know is a guy jumping a T-Rex, new Dodge Ram T-Rex.
I've seen it.
And I've got to admit that the launch of the jump makes me smile, but it's a $90,000 truck that gets hurt pretty fast. And
it's probably more than that.
Is it?
Yeah. So those trucks, I think they start at 95, but optioned out, you can spend 115 on a T-Rex, and they're all sold out. You can't even buy one, you know. So I'm guessing his probably costs more than 90. But yeah.
Well, so this is I'm no idiot. I'm a fan of content that pretends to not have wrecked cars, but has wrecked lots and lots of cars. Every TV show or movie that I've ever seen has done that. But now there are just channels of people buying expensive stuff and ruining them. And it gets, that's the part of the economics I don't understand.
Okay, here's the economics for you. Then I will break it down. If you have a YouTube channel and you can generate 1 million views every day of your life. So let's say you generate 30 million views a month, you can make 6 figures in a month.
Wow.
That is how guys can drive $90,000 trucks into a wall.
Yeah. So that's the trick, huh?
Yeah. Figure out a way to go viral and become, you know, so big that every day of your life you're creating a video and 1 million people are watching it. And when you say that out loud, that is a television show. Mm-hmm. That's what kind of numbers you're talking about. Like, when, you know, a primetime TV show is on these days, it's 2 to 3 million people, you know, on a
low like I remember looking up the numbers of like Jimmy Fallon or something.
Yeah.
It's less than 4.
Yeah. It's not that much.
Yeah.
And what we're all discovering throughout this is, you know, nobody wants to be told when they have to watch something or how they want to watch something. And they want it in smaller bites most of the time. And so, you know, linear TV is a hard sell to, especially the younger generation. You know, my kids, great example of this. When my youngest was born and we would get on an airplane, we had a portable DVD player, and we'd pop on a DVD and he'd watch it all the way through. And it would be great because we get through a plane flight. Mm-hmm. My youngest now, no portable DVD player, has an iPad. He will watch a 1-minute-long video, swipe to the next one, swipe to the next one, swipe to the next one. He wants the control, and his attention span is about the same as a carrot, like his old man. And so you have to think about that when you're making YouTube videos. Like, don't make an hour-long YouTube video, because most people won't sit through it. If you're lucky, they'll sit through 15 minutes of your hour-long video. And if they tune out too soon, then YouTube thinks you're making content nobody cares about and won't recommend your content.
Hmm.
So
That's a toughie. You're beholden to some stuff that you can't control.
oh
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But it's still better than trying to make a living on Instagram or Facebook, because with those platforms, it's a great example. I have, I don't know, like 700,000 people following me on Instagram. On any given day, I have no control over how many people see what I post, you know?
Hmm.
And if I'm lucky, 100,000 of those people will see a single post, and it's out of my control, But at least with YouTube, if you make something great, the odds are good you'll be successful.
That's good. Okay. So good advice.
Yeah.
It's very motivational to end on.
Dude,
But
go for it.
I think what we'll really end on that's motivational is a brand new game. So this is gonna release right before the Daytona 500. And I have a new game that's called Real NASCAR Driver or Fictional NASCAR Driver. So or not. So like Dale Earnhardt counts. Brewster Baker from Six Pack, that counts. Clay Millican, NHRA superstar, does not count because he's not NASCAR. But that's the game. Okay. So it can be real or film. And a little thinking music here. Okay, good. Okay, we'll start with an easy one just to kind of get the juices flowing. So Richard Petty.
Real NASCAR driver.
Correct. He is a real NASCAR driver.
Wait, what's up with the sound effect?
Oh, that'll come in later.
Oh, okay. It's like I'm getting shortchanged. I'm doing all the work here. I'm getting shortchanged on the sound effects.
Jimmy Johnson.
Real.
Correct. I always do the bings and Bernie throws them in later.
Do them a little louder. I'm not hearing them.
Okay. I will yell them. Some of your hearing problems, not my fault. So we had Jimmy Johnson, Junior Johnson.
Real.
Bing.
See, there we go.
Correct.
Now I'm motivated.
Okay. Jimmy Junior Johnson.
I'm gonna go fake. I have no idea.
Bing. Yes, I'm gonna say that's right. I was just trying to mix names to confuse you.
Okay. All right. I thought that's what was happening.
Cuckoo Marlin. No, real.
Is it real?
Yeah.
Oh god.
That is Sterling Marlin's father. Cuckoo.
Really? What a great name.
Cuckoo Cocoa Puffs.
Fake, but
incorrect.
But good.
You are right. Stroker Ace.
Okay, so movie, does that make him fake or real because he's in a movie driving a car?
If he's in a movie or a TV show as a NASCAR driver, he would be real. Oh, okay. So he's a fictional real NASCAR driver.
Fictional real, fake real. Got it.
Yeah. So Bing, you win. You got that right. Ricky Bobby.
Real fake. That guy.
Real fake. Bing, correct. Rowdy Burns.
Real fake. Great movie.
Good. Bing, correct. Rowdy Bowles.
I'm gonna go fake.
Correct again. Way to go. Okay. Kevin Harvick.
Real.
Bing, correct. Chase Elliott.
Real.
Bing, correct. Greg Biffle.
Real.
Bing, correct. Greg Biffed. Bing, correct. Cal Naughton Jr.
That was real fake from Talladega Nights.
Correct. Bing, correct. Ted Stryker.
But perfect name for porn or NASCAR.
Yeah, I thought I'd get you on that one. Yeah, you go. Good job. Lightning McQueen.
Real fake.
Yes, he's both the car and the driver in that case. Cole Trickle.
Real fake.
Correct. Dick Trickle.
Real.
Being correct. Dick Johnson.
Fake.
No, he's real.
He's real.
Late 50s. He's real.
Dick Johnson really raced?
Yep. Dick Passwater.
Fake, I think.
No, he's real.
Oh my god. So many dicks for real.
Yeah. Dances with Passwater.
Fake.
And then finally, Wolfgang Alexander Albert Eduard Maximilian Reichsgraf Berg von Trips.
Wow. I'm going to go fake, but it almost sounds real. Let's go fake.
Missed on that. Okay, that is real.
real.
Wolfgang von Trips, as everyone called him, was one of the last great aristocratic gentleman drivers who defined motor racing's early years. No, you win. He wasn't in NASCAR. He came from a noble family in Rhineland, competed in Formula One in 1956 to his death in the Italian Grand Prix in 61. So he did not race in NASCAR. He was a real guy. You got it right.
See, the problem is gentlemen. I ignore those people.
Gentleman drivers. Hell with them. They're out. All right, Mike. It's been great catching up with you. We do need to do this more often, but it's so much fun to.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
To start recording and then miss all the good stuff, and then we have to make it back up. That has happened time and time again.
We'll get it right. I don't know.
Maybe next time we'll get there. Where do you want people to follow you?
If you have the time, you can find me on Instagram at Finnegan999. YouTube is Finnegan's Garage, and if you want a T-shirt because you're naked and cold, go to fsmgarage.com.
Cool. Very good. Well, you have a wonderful Daytona 500 and Valentine's Day, which I hope you don't miss this time.
Not buying anything with 4 wheels.
I will talk to you later.
Thanks, dude.
Okay.